Hi, welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Lillian Neuman, your host, and my co-host is Susan Salomone, Executive Director of Drug Crisis in Our Backyard. And today's guest is Jon Cassidy, peer engagement specialist. Thank you for joining us. It was right there on the tip of my tongue, and I just got confused. But welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Peer engagement specialist.
That's the fancy title, yeah.
Tell us how you got started as a peer engagement specialist.
And also what it is.
I'm in recovery. Let's start off there. I'm in long-term recovery. And I worked in a treatment facility, local treatment facility. And someone I was taking my KSAC class with suggested that I check out this position at the agency I work for, which is CAPE. And it's called Peer Services, which is non-clinical. And my main qualifications for being in the peer services as a person in recovery is the identification factors. It's not the trying to figure out what happened in your childhood. It's not trying to fix anything. It's trying to say, hey, man, I've been there, and there's a solution. I've been where you've been, and I'm better now. So that's how I got.
Yes. So you mentioned you were in recovery.
That's
so how long are you in recovery?
In April, I celebrated 9 years in recovery.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I know you, Jon, for so long. I feel like I've known you a very long time.
That's
and
right.
You had mentioned that you are a KSAC while you were going through your KSAC class.
That's right.
So what is that?
The Certified Alcohol Substance Abuse Counselor is what the acronym is. I'm a KSAC-T, not to be tricky. It's like the training version of it. I did my classroom hours, but have not completed the testing and the clinical hours. That is someone who works in a treatment facility with people with substance use disorder.
But that's a clinical piece you were talking
Correct.
about versus you. Okay.
Correct. Great distinction. So if I wanted to pursue that, I don't have many more hours to acquire and then take a test, and then I can work in a treatment facility, which at this point I'm not interested in. The peer services is, I was trained, it's an OASIS, which is the governing body for substance use disorder in New York. I was trained under an OASIS approved class to take my peer engagement service. It's a recovery coaching, which is through Connecticut, RCA Connecticut. And my next step would be to be a peer advocate.
Okay.
A CERPA, Certified Recovery Peer Advocate, which at this point my job doesn't require it, but it's just a matter of taking a test.
Which is what, when you say peer advocate, what does that do for a client, for a person?
Another great question. Peer advocate, as a person in recovery, is I'm someone who not only identifies with someone struggling from substance use disorder, I'm a person who actually advocates for them as well, which means, because they're probably not in the right state of mind, they're generally not in the right state of mind. So I'm the person contacting treatment facilities or what other avenues they want to pursue to achieve a healthier lifestyle. So I devise a plan with them, basically help them write their own plan and then follow that out.
But not necessarily in treatment. It's outside of treatment, you advocate and help them write a plan, or does it extend when they go into treatment? You still advocate for them to make sure they're getting the services that they should be getting. Sorry with all my questions.
No, please.
Because it's interesting.
Do you advocate to get them in treatment?
There's many roles of to be an advocate.
Okay.
Like Friends of Recovery is another kind of.
Yeah, but let's not talk about that yet, okay? Because it's going to get too confusing. But in that peer.
So this individual process is what I'm talking about.
The CERPA. It's
Certified
Recovery Peer Advocate.
Correct.
So that is, you have your recovery coach certificate.
Correct.
And with so you went to school to be a recovery coach, which is someone that can help people that are already in recovery, early recovery, build a plan to move forward in their lives and stay sober.
Not necessarily have to be in recovery already, but yes, generally.
Okay. And so actually you can work with people that are not yet in recovery as a recovery coach.
Correct.
To help them get to recovery.
Correct.
Okay, that's really interesting. So the next step in the process, or let's say the next step in the ladder, would be to get your CERPA,
Correct.
which is Certified Recovery Peer Advocate.
Correct.
Now, that person, when you get it, you can advocate to get, now this person who is trying to get recovery, get them into a treatment facility. Is that one of the roles of that person?
It's kind of a sticky situation, absolutely. My role, regardless of what my title is,
Right.
is to advocate for someone who's trying to get into recovery and get them into the help however they need it.
Okay.
Oasis has governed it and called it SERPA or SERPA P, which is the provisional.
Right, right.
But in general, regardless of what my title is, as a person in recovery, I'm going to do whatever I can. If you ask me for help, I'm going to follow through and get you some sort of help.
Okay,
okay.
I understand.
All right,
that.
the
Just
reason I
wondering
ask
about that
is
SERPA
because
thing.
there's sometimes people are in recovery. Let's say they go into treatment. Let's say they have a mental health issue and they get to a treatment program on a Saturday and there's no one there to see them Sunday, and Monday their counselor's not there, so no one can make an appointment for them to see the psychiatrist until maybe Wednesday, and visits are maybe 14 days stay. Would you be the person that could call up the treatment program if they signed the release and said, look, I'm John, I'm working with Bill, he has psychiatric issues, it's now Wednesday, he's been in on Sunday, he can be out of there within the next 8, 9, 10 days. He needs to see a psychiatrist. How do we help that along? Would that be your role?
I'm substance use, kind of stay in my lane. But again, if I develop a relationship with this person and I know what their needs are, I'm not necessarily going to call the place for them, but I'm going to be there when they call the place.
What happens if they're already in treatment? And let's say substance abuse, let's say an inpatient rehab, which is Oasis licensed,
Correct.
and then the secondary is mental health.
Right.
So they're there for rehab.
Yeah.
And they haven't seen a psychiatrist in 6 days, and they really need to, because that's an issue. Do you call the treatment program?
I certainly will.
Got
you
it.
know what I mean?
Okay.
But it's this is a new field. This isn't, my position is new, and not exactly the most welcomed. So people, and not resist, they just don't know.
Right.
So when I call and say, hey, I'm the peer engagement specialist working with Jim.
Right.
Can you? They go, who the heck are you?
Got it.
So I have to kind of give a little more detail if they haven't heard.
That's why we're
Got
trying
it.
to educate people about
Awesome.
this one position and other things that you're doing. But
That's right.
Now, how does this? Because I was at the meeting where they talked about peer engagement in the hospital. How does that work in the hospitals that you're covering?
Again, thank you. Another to get the information out I needed. I work for CAPE, which has received a regional grant, which means Putnam's included. So I'm in Dutchess and in Putnam. I'm in the hospital. I'm in Putnam Hospital Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays now, from 9 to 5, 9 to 5, and 11 to 7 on Fridays. And I'm in Dutchess. I'm in Vassar from 10 to 6 on Wednesday, and Mid-Hudson Regional from 11 to 7. And what I do there is meet with, it's written, the focus of overdose victims, patients, but it's really anybody with substance use disorder. Alcohol, meth, heroin, anything you got going on, I'm gonna try to get you linked into services that could help you get into a healthier life.
So they go to the emergency room, overdose, alcohol, whatever. The emergency room, because you're in the hospital, they call you and they say, John, we've got Bill, he overdosed, they found him on the street, so you'll meet with him, his family, whoever, and see what's his next step. You don't let him, the hospital doesn't let him just go home and say, here's a sheet of paper, call this number, here's a list of AA meetings.
Exactly.
Wow.
Just a brief example, in Putnam Hospital yesterday, I was in the morning, they said we have a case. I met with the gentleman, actually I met with his family first, assessed the situation, talked to them. They wanted to get him into treatment.
Right.
I contacted my people in the treatment facilities that would be a good fit for him. Put him together, and he's off the treatment today.
Good.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah,
Now,
What
go
drug? Was it? Did he overdose?
It was alcohol, actually.
Alcohol. Okay.
but other hospitals, they don't have that.
This is a fairly new position, as he said, and it is happening. I don't know if Westchester's. Westchester got a grant for it yet.
No, and you could, because my thing was I work at St. Vincent's, but being part of other hospitals, I would talk to doctors in the emergency room. A girl would come in, alcohol poisoning on a Friday night. Saturday, if she's lucky to stay over, they'd send her home. And I'd say, well, where's the information on the substance use? Did you speak to the parents? Because my thought was to sit myself in an emergency room and as people came in, talk to them.
Right.
But then I figured I can't do one more thing.
Well, it's new. It's
Right.
brand new. How long have
This
you?
is 2 months, not
Yeah.
even.
Yeah, it's a new.
So that's what-
It was a new grant that
Okay.
came out from Oasis.
Got it.
And so now he's been hired through the grant.
Got it.
By CAPE, which is the same thing as the National Council on, it's very similar. What does it mean? What's the
Council
acronym?
stands for everything's acronym.
Right.
Everything.
Council on Addiction Prevention Education.
Got it.
Of Dutchess.
Of Dutchess.
Of Dutchess.
Okay, so it's the same thing as NCADD of Westchester.
And the Prevention Council.
Of Putnam.
Putnam.
They just
Got it.
changed their name.
Got it.
So they're all the same. And so I'm not sure is there a peer engagement in Westchester?
I doubt it.
I
don't
doubt it
know.
also. I don't
haven't
think
heard.
so.
You would probably know
I don't
better.
think formal like this because I
This
have.
is formal through a grant.
Right, but I don't know any. Westchester, I don't think got any grants like that for this, and no one's taken it on their own to sit in an emergency room in our hospitals in Westchester and meet with parents.
No, I imagine they wouldn't. I mean,
It's unfortunate, right?
And
Right.
excuse me.
Go on, please.
Rockland's also included in this.
so it's
Oh.
Rockland, Putnam, and
Dutchess.
So there's someone else hired in Rockland.
Rockland, we gave our information to. They're getting the pamphlet and
So you're going to be in Rockland also, you
No.
think? Oh.
No, how could he be in
No, I
so
was
many
to say
places
that.
at
That-
once?
but originally it was 2 of us for 1,200 square miles with 7 hospitals.
So there's only 2 of you?
There's me and Megan Hetfield, the female
Yeah.
recovery coach.
Right, there's a male and a female. Right.
So what's the response from families?
It's the greatest position in the world. Everybody's thrilled to see me. Families, doctors, everybody goes, oh my
right.
goodness, finally, something.
right.
Yeah, oh, good.
That's
That's
more
great to
resources.
hear. That's really good to hear.
It is.
Yeah.
It's,
Congrats.
thank you. Listen, I didn't do.
Because
I'm
you
blessed.
never know how
No.
these grants are going to work
Right.
out. You just don't know if it's money well spent.
Well, I did this a year prior to this grant as a recovery coach
Got
for CAPE, and it was a completely different thing. It's when we
Yeah.
would meet with people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Family members would call, and we would try to help the family members into some sort of recovery, and it worked well, but it was just kind of spread out.
This is better.
This is probably more needed.
Right,
well,
because
first
it's
of-
in a hospital.
And because
captive.
it's a crisis.
That's right.
Because you've got to get them in crisis.
right.
If
That's
they're
right.
not in crisis, let me think about it.
That's right.
It's like
Tomorrow it's
that
not
bad.
so bad.
Exactly.
The
So-
family's been through this.
right.
Got
so
over it. Right.
That's exactly what happens. But when it's a crisis and now you're in the hospital, it couldn't be a better time
Couldn't be.
to engage people in thinking about what
That's right.
recovery, right?
That's right.
So that's great to know. And so, what other things are you involved in?
Friends of Recovery, Putnam, which is, I don't know how long we'll be doing it, a few months. Friends of Recovery is a New York grassroots advocacy
Organization.
And the premise of me joining it, the reason why I joined it, thank you for the help, is because essentially I don't want the politicians to tell me how they want things. I want to tell the politicians. I want the word of the people in recovery to let them know what we need. They don't
Right.
think, not what they think we need, you
Yeah.
know. And really bang on doors and change some laws, you know. And I was blessed in my journey in recovery early on to be a part of the treatment court. I was accepted in treatment court, completed it, and if I didn't have that extra insulation,
Right.
you know, I don't know if I'd be in recovery now. So, like many years ago, when I remember my mom driving me around, I was 35 years old, lost my license in treatment court, and I said to her, man, if there's some way I could just help people and actually make a living doing it.
Right.
Like, and
Yeah.
here we are,
There you
7,
are.
8, 9 years later, it happened.
Right.
So
Miracles happen.
That's right.
that's right.
Yep.
And so I'm grateful all the way around. And Friends of Recovery is another way with drug crisis in our backyard and the hospital and drug court. Everybody, I want to create a giant net where if someone reaches out and wants some sort of help with substance use,
There's someone that
someone
you
there.
can refer.
that's
and
right. I'll call
Resource and
Susan, she'll
referral.
call me, I'll call whoever I can call, whoever will help me.
Right.
Yeah.
And has the best chance for this option.
Right.
Then we're gonna, I want everybody connected.
So I didn't know you were in treatment court.
Yes.
Yeah, could you
Judge
just
Reeds?
talk a little bit about that? Just a little, what it is and how it works and why it works.
Treatment Court is a program in Putnam. There's a bunch nationally, but my experience is in Putnam, where you have the opportunity of having a charge lessened by completing. My program is 2 years. I went in front of the judge once a week for 6 months, every other week for 6 months, once a week for every 3 weeks for 6 months, and once a month for 6 months. So I got pretty comfortable with Judge Reeds, and it was really about accountability. And I didn't realize how I was not being accountable for anything. And Judge Reeds said to me, which I've heard 100 times, but it still, and I don't know, it hit me when he said it, was, your words mean nothing to me. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I'm so smart. I can.
That's right.
He said,
That's it.
you're acting a certain way, and I don't like it. And that kind of changed the direction of my ship. So,
Well, because he had so much power over you.
well,
He had the power
and
to put
having
you in jail.
2 to 6 years in upstate New
Yeah.
York was a wake up call too. I'd never spent a minute in any sort of county jail at that point, and you're going to send me to state prison. I was
Right.
like, what?
Yeah, that's the leverage, really, that makes it work.
I'm a huge fan of.
Leverage.
However, and I don't want to use the word leverage, but being in a situation where my decisions
Right.
left me no options.
Right.
Right.
So I was
Now,
blessed
but you
to
have
be
one
part
in
of it.
Dutchess, too, right?
I don't.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
In the city of Poughkeepsie, I believe it is.
Yeah, because I spoke there.
I did too.
at
with
a graduation.
Mahoney or Maloney, the judge. I did
Yeah,
too.
right.
But
That's who it was.
yeah, but that's the city of Poughkeepsie. I don't think that's a Duchess run.
Oh, okay.
I think. Don't
Not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure either.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
know.
Well,
the
Noreen
essence. Yeah.
up there was the head of treatment court in Putnam when I was there.
Oh, okay.
So Noreen's.
So you did 2 years, and then they dismissed your charges?
I wish no. No, I had a felony DWI and they lowered it to a misdemeanor,
Got it.
Okay.
and then 3 years probation. Again, it was all about accountability.
Yeah, right.
And with attending a 12-step program, that extra insulation or the threat of getting put in jail, helped me stay on track.
Right.
Right.
Now, what
exactly.
about it that his words, what you say means nothing? Why was that a switch for you? If you can.
Again, I didn't realize how slick, because the biggest person I was lying to was
Was
myself.
right.
I was believing what I was saying,
Right.
and I wasn't doing anything.
Right.
And just when he said that, I'd probably
clicked.
heard it 100 times.
Right.
And it was like, wow, I have to start living my life, not talking about it.
Right.
And we say it in the treatment facility, don't talk about it, be about it.
Right.
And you start doing a lot more than you're saying, and the whole perspective changes. That's what being in recovery is about, your perspective.
Right.
Being grateful instead of being blameful, and do, hold up your end of the bargain. You're a normal human now. You don't deserve anything more. Just
That's right.
get involved.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
That when you have that mind frame of out there using that, you think, I thought I was the great know-it-all.
That's right.
Knew nothing,
That's
knew
right.
everything. No one can tell me anything.
That's right.
And then getting into recovery, you realize I knew nothing.
Right.
From going thinking I'm it. When you walk into a room, like yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like.
That's right.
It's a whole
It's a whole-
different
It's
thinking.
amazing.
Thinking
It really
about
is.
everything.
Yeah.
And how the size of the world changes.
Right.
Figuratively speaking, I was in this little bubble and I thought I knew everything, and now I know nothing, and the world is huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
And I meet new people every day, and I'm so humbled by everybody's journey.
That's right.
Where before I was the coolest, I was the best, I had the best story. Listen to me. I was all it was all fake.
Yeah.
And to be real and to be humble and in recovery and grateful, and the fact that I'm here is just it's truly amazing.
And you love what you do.
I'm in awe of how blessed I am that
You're
7-8
able.
years ago I said I just want to, and it happened. Like exactly how I couldn't have written it.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Right.
So
God's plan.
That's it.
it's hard to refute it.
Right,
the
right.
whole ride has been.
Right.
So
Yep.
it's great, man.
So I know I'm familiar with Friends of Recovery, and I know that they have a specific way. It's interesting because you are in a 12-step program,
Correct.
AA or NA, whatever it is, and you're in Friends of Recovery. I know that Friends of Recovery has a specific language about how they message about your recovery, your personal recovery. Would you mind telling us what that is?
Yeah, awesome. I forget all this. You keep asking these good questions. And that's why I announce myself as a person in long-term recovery when I introduce myself. Because there's a stigma involved with substance use disorder. And if I say I'm an alcoholic or an addict, that automatically puts in most people's minds some sort of picture. If I say I'm in recovery, you don't really know from what, but I am in recovery from a disease.
Right.
So 10 years ago, I was the guy on the front page for getting locked up again. And for 9 years now, I've been doing well. I've been contributing. I'm a part of the society. Bought a house, taxpayer, have a kid. Everything's good, you know. But if I didn't talk about it, no one would know that people recover.
That's right.
So, the point of some of the points of Friends of Recovery is we want to use non-stigmatizing language.
Right.
You know, we're all suffering from the same in the substance use, but it's just a matter of not lending itself to the stigma.
Right.
You know, being wise in our words and being wise in how we raise our voice. Try to unify the voice. You know.
So what does that sound like? So you say, I'm a person in long-term recovery if you're speaking.
Yeah.
How else does that language change from where AA or most people say I'm an addict or alcoholic?
So like if I was to, I do a training called
Okay.
Our Stories Have Power, and what we want you to do is we call it the elevator talk.
Okay.
You have 2 minutes, you get in, you get out, and you leave your impression. You know, and I would say, hey, I'm John, and I'm a person in long-term recovery, which means I haven't had a drink or a drug since April 28, 2008. Since I've been in recovery, I've been blessed many, many times because of treatment court. I have a child. I help people every single day. I contribute to getting people well every day.
That's great.
What
It
I
really
do,
is.
I'm in the emergency rooms.
Right.
I literally put people in treatment every day. I help families. And then, so you wrap it up, concentrate on the positives.
And it changes it from a war story.
Right.
It changes that when you talk about your experience that way than saying I was out there on the streets. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it does change how people hear the message.
But they're both true.
Right.
So we're giving you the positive
Right.
messaging.
Which is so important. And I think one of the first people that brought that to the attention of the public was Greg Williams in the Anonymous People.
Huge, absolutely.
Huge when he talked about the language around recovery changing. It's so very important that we don't use the word addict. Addict has such negative connotation. Everybody uses it.
Everyone.
And
even in the field also.
In the
And we have
field,
to
that's what I
change it.
mean. In the field particularly.
Yep.
I mean, that's where we got to start the change.
Our words are so important and so powerful and so opinion shaping
Yep.
and if we can, and it's just a little bit at a time. We start, you know. I just loved how you heard it a little bit differently as I said that, and that's the important key. You know, as you hear that, or as now you go forward and tell people, it multiplies.
So
Do you
tell
have
me.
to- oh God, I'll ask you later. I want it written down. I
Excuse
want
me.
to practice. Excuse me. Go on.
So what do you think about having to say in a meeting, my name is John and I'm an alcoholic?
It's beautiful.
You like it?
That's what saved my life.
Okay.
I
So
don't wanna change-
why? Tell me. For me, there's a disconnect. Okay,
There is?
between that and saying, "Hi, my name's John. I'm a person in long-term recovery." The last time. So tell me about that. Just
When I say I'm a person in long-term recovery, I'm representing myself. I'm
Okay.
not representing a 12-step program.
so when you're in a meeting and you say, "I'm John. I'm an alcoholic."
I'm representing and I'm in a 12-step program. But as I speak here publicly, I'm still a member of a 12-step program.
Yeah.
But I'm representing myself. I'm not representing that 12-step program.
So how do they feel about that?
It's
you know?
some people aren't thrilled about it.
Yeah.
But it's just not. It's not. They don't have the proper knowledge. It's just. I'm not. That's why. Exactly why I just said. I'm not trying to represent, nor would I ever change anything about those 12 steps.
Right.
Okay.
I literally saved my life.
All right.
So I would. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's God
Okay.
sent. But as I stand here as a person in recovery, it's important for people to know that I did get well in a 12-step program.
Yeah.
And I represent myself. I'm not trying to say, because I'm in, you know, How many celebrities have we seen talk about recovery and then go out and not
Right.
have success and die, and all of a sudden goes, oh, those 12-step programs don't work. I don't represent them. I represent me.
And that's why you say, I'm a person in long-term recovery.
Exactly.
Got it.
Is there a specific amount of time that has to pass before you can say long-term recovery?
That's a funny question
Isn't
because
it?
because in recovery coaching, they say you're in recovery when you say you are.
Okay.
So whatever you're comfortable with. I could say recovery. And a matter of fact, at our Friends of Recovery meeting, a person in recovery a year or two said, I'm not comfortable saying long-term recovery. I said, tell that to the person who's got a week.
Right.
You know? So
Yeah.
it's
Right.
It's all relative.
That's right.
from where I was to where I am, any day that I don't use or drink is long-term recovery.
Yeah. Okay, that's very good. I like that. That sounds really interesting. So you've come a long way in the last 9 years. It's been just amazing. I've watched your growth actually because you knew my son.
That's right.
And you saw what happened with him.
I did.
And so we kind of have a kinship
100%.
because of him, and then we were in KSAC class together.
That's right.
So we have quite the history.
That's right. And Justin was in the same home group as I was with Miles, and we had the same. They had
Yeah.
the same sponsor. I remember.
Right. Yep.
And then it's
Barry.
Yeah. Well, before Barry.
Before Barry.
Paul.
Oh yeah, Paul. Oh my God.
So
I heard he relapsed.
which
God only knows.
so I mean, man, there is no kinship like being in recovery, man. It's like
Yeah.
being saved from a shipwreck, So I applaud all the work you've done. I remember seeing somewhere about the drug crisis in our backyard, and here you are. You're a big deal. So thank you for all the work you do.
And thank you for all the work you
That's
do.
right.
We
That's
really
right.
appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
and we like working together. We think that we've got a lot to offer from different perspectives.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right.
And
Awesome.
John, it's a pleasure having you on
My
the show.
pleasure.
Yeah.
And you have to come back.
Please.
Yeah, you have
And
to come
talk,
back.
please.
And,
Anytime.
maybe in show 100, you could come back.
You
That's
tell
right.
me.
Please,
I'm
we'll have
here.
a celebration of all our guests.
You
and
tell me
Yeah.
I'm
you
here.
come back and speak,
Yeah.
please.
Please.
And what you're doing is great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love that peer
That-
engagement. It's very good.
The
really.
special peers.
Engagement specialist.
Okay.
Peer engagement
I
specialist.
love it.
Yeah,
Is that a
Yep.
little stuck on stupid?
Yeah.